One more item of business from yesterday. I mentioned Stephen Ross earlier. He wasn't at the meeting because he's suspended through week six of the regular season. However, Roger Goodell asked about the Dolphins situation. Here he is talking about the punishment that was imposed 8 days ago on Stephen Ross for tampering, but not for tanking.
The integrity of the game is critically important. I think the findings were very clear on the tampering charges. While tanking clearly did not happen here, I think we all have to understand that our words and our actions have implications, can be interpreted. We have to be careful.
They are never going to find a team guilty of tanking, ever, ever. The implications are too significant for the league, for the teams. You're talking about lawsuits, you're talking about perp walks. If anyone ever admits to deliberately losing games in an age and era of ever-expanding legalized gambling. However, the only reason tanking didn't happen is because Brian Flores didn't go along with it.
Saved him, right.
He saved Stephen Ross's ass. Now, he also blew the whistle, but he saved him by getting him to back off of all a billionaire should have to say. Gee, I think it's probably better for this team to have a higher draft position next year than to worry about whether we win 4, 5, or 6 games this year. He did everything he could to put the tank in motion. The league will never acknowledge that. The league will never punish anyone for it. And see, that's the thing, Chris. Whenever a tank actually happens, the coach goes along with it. Now, is it possible after the fact the coach tries to blow the whistle? Well, Hugh Jackson kind of tried to do it. But see, because he signed a release when he got his buyout after he was fired, and then he tried to file a grievance over the damage it did to his reputation, be part of this 4-year plan where they baked the tanking into the various factors that they use to incentivize behaviors that weren't conducive to winning. That got shut down. That got thrown out. Sorry, Hugh. Sorry, we're not going to consider your argument based upon your position that there was tanking going on here because you signed away your rights. Oh, by the way, the guy who made that decision was Peter Harvey.
Yeah, well, no, that's right. I forgot about that Peter Harvey was involved in that. But, I mean, the NFL got lucky.
They're never going to catch anybody.
No, I
They're
understand.
never going to catch
Stephen
anybody.
Ross got lucky. I will say this, too. But where do we draw the line here in this business of, at some point, you're going to have teams that are, wait, we're 3-10. And we want to play. We do want to play some of the young guys. Yeah, maybe we're not sure if we're going to win. But we probably won't because I'm going to play maybe some of the lesser guys. But it's to develop them. Now, see, to me, that's where this is going to be interesting as we go along, and that to me is where we got to shift the responsibility to the gambler a little bit too. I mean, listen, you're gambling. There's a reason it's called gambling. So if you're betting money on that, you're just stupid. I don't know what else to tell you. So that's where I just wonder where the fine line is there, because I do think there's teams that are like that. It's not like they want to lose. They're going to coach hard. They're going to do things to put these lesser guys in good positions, but it's more about development, and they're willing to take the L for maybe a few more W's the next year. And to me, that's not tanking. And that's where I think this can get very interesting, and that's where I think there's got to be a little responsibility on the gambler a little bit, like the guy who gambles in preseason football. I just go, well, you're just you're an addict. You're an idiot if you think you really know what's going to go on here tonight. I mean, I had friends last week texting me, what do you think about the Raiders-Jags? And I think you have a problem. That's what I think. That you have a problem. Because I know all these coaches and all these people, and I have no clue what the hell's going to happen here. And I know you at home, who hasn't paid attention to football, now has absolutely no clue. And that's where I think it can be an interesting conversation as we go forward here.
I did say on Friday of last week that the 1-800 number that is used for anyone who has a gambling problem, and we do encourage anyone who may have a problem to take advantage of that 800 number, that if you make a bet on any preseason game, it should automatically connect you to that number. I know. So I'm on the same page with that. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
The NFL sells this idea that in every instance, in every game, both teams are doing everything they can to try to win. That's all that matters. It's Adrian waking up from the coma. Win. Dong. Win. What are we waiting for? Take us. That every game is that. no matter the stakes, no matter the team, no matter whether you're, we're not making the playoffs this year. Because here's the problem. On one hand, it's win-win-win. They're all trying to win. They're trying to win every game. Win. Oh, by the way, the team that loses the most games gets first pick in the draft. Our premier off-season jewel. And if you've got the first pick, hey, you're
talk of the town.
You're the team. You're the team everybody's talking about. Hey, it's great to have that first pick, but don't try to get the first pick. It's great to have the first pick, but don't you try to get it. I tried to make the example the other day. It's kind of like the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. Don't touch that apple, but somebody's going to carve the thing up and eat it. Somebody gets the apple handed to it. Don't you try to get it, but we're giving it to somebody. We don't like to talk about how we go about the process of figuring it out because we don't want to acknowledge that teams may choose not to win. But that's a problem, Chris. As long as they incentivize it indirectly, they can't act like they're surprised when teams realize. And I've said this for years. It's good business. Now, it may be bad football, and it may be bad for building a culture.
Right.
Sean Payton talked about that on this show earlier this year. It's horrible for your culture to introduce that concept of losing. But, hey, if the Dolphins had gotten Joe Burrow, I think Burrow's presence would have eradicated whatever funk was there that led to them consciously positioning themselves to get the first overall pick in the 2020 draft. Think of how different the Dolphins would be right now. Think of how different the Bengals would be right now if Burrow had been a Dolphin. So as long as they have that temptation, and as long as somebody is going to get to eat the apple, it's impossible to reconcile that with all of our teams are always trying to win every single game that they play.
I know. This is where it is tricky. I can say this. I was involved in something like this in 2004, where the last game of the year, I want to explain this. Don't to jump to conclusions. I replaced Brad Johnson as a starting quarterback. I got hurt, then got healthy at the end of the year, and Gruden, Brian Greasy had been playing, and we had, a few younger other guys that, the future looked good, but they might have not been starters and whatever else, and we put them in the lineup. It was against Emmitt Smith and the Arizona Cardinals, Emmitt Smith's last game. And, yes, we might have not put our best players out there, but we weren't tanking. Gruden was as psycho on that day as he was any other day. I mean, he wasn't trying to lose the game. Trust me, he MF'd me like 7 times in the first quarter. So we were trying to win. So that's where I do think there is something to developing guys, or wait, this guy next year, he might not be as good as John the left guard, but John the left guard's probably going to be out of here next year because he's getting up there in age and he's got a number on the salary cap. We have another guy that's going to replace him. It's good. We'd like to give him some experience so he can feel positive going in the offseason. And that to me is not tanking. That's not. And so that's where I'm interested to see how this plays out with the gambling influence now in the NFL that you're explaining so well.
January 2, 2005, the Sean King revenge game. Cardinals win 12-7, although Sean King did not play.
I missed a throw late in the game.
In that game.
We should have won. Jeez, gosh.
You only mustered 7 points against the Cardinals? But my God. How'd you make it to 2006 to lose your spleen?
2000. I know, you're right. I'm sure Gruden didn't want me after that. That was the ultimate, game of we thought we cracked the code on some of the things they were doing on the defensive side of the ball, where we came in and we were like, oh, we got it. When they do this, we know what they're doing. And we thought, and I can remember being under center like the third play of the game going, wait, they're not doing anything that coach said they were going to do, and they're breaking all their rules. And I literally remember kind of like looking at the sideline when I was under the center one time, like, what do you want me to do? Because everything you taught me has just been blown up by this right here. So it was quite the experience that day, and I learned from it, that's for sure.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.